We'll have a very brief sessions, 2 or 3 of them. One will be the short CME on the urea breath test machine, which will be showcased by our colleagues from Headway and Rima. But I want at this particular time also to make some of our sponsors ready. Shifa, so be somewhere around. We'll call you in no time. But also Binto, wherever you are. So your session will be coming shortly after this, so get prepared. You'll have 10 minutes, so gear up for that. So once again, I'll be taking this session briefly from Dr. Ipuge. And without wasting much time, we welcome anyone from Headway / Rima. And what we expect from you is the short explanations on the use of the machine. And perhaps may use the time also to do some greetings from Headway and anything from that particular side. The audience is yours. You're welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jessie, and I'm here today representing Headway China, which is a global leader of H-Pyroli urea breath test industry. First, it's a great honor to be part of this event. I'm so excited to bring a practical golden standard diagnostic solution for H-Pyroli diagnosis, which combines enhanced accuracy and efficiency that can address the current clinical challenges in East Africa. So please join me to take a virtual journey to our company by our video. Our vision is to make the pursuit of health easier. This is our manufacturing system. The entire manufacturing process is highly automatic. It's okay, I will make a detailed clarification. We have established a modern and intelligent manufacturing system to support a high quality and large-scale production. From capsule, collection cards, and test kits packing, even warehouse management. Okay, next, please allow me to make a detailed clarification of our company. Our company was founded in 1996 and is a state-owned enterprise under China National Nuclear Corporation. Relying on its resources, Headway has gone from strength to strength. Now, we have been the world #1 urea breath test supplier with both carbon-13 and carbon-14. In past 3 decades research and development, Headway has built a good reputation in domestic market. We have been honored with numerous awards. Among these awards, National High-Tech Enterprise Award is considered as the highest recognition. It proves that Headway has a strong technological innovation in production of urea breath test. Now, we have 3 research and development centers and 3 manufacturing centers covering a production of over 70,000 square meters. In addition to the strong research and development ability, we also established a modern and intelligent manufacturing system, from capsule manufacturing, collection cart, to test kit packing and even warehouse management. Besides that, we also passed multiple international certifications and established an international quality management system. We got CE, ISO 901, and GMP. This is a general overview of our global market presence. In the past years, Headway has offered solutions to over 20,000 medical institutions in over 86 countries and regions. From Asia, Latin America to Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, helping millions of people benefit from the accurate and non-invasive diagnosis method. We believe that in the near future, we can bring more value to more customers, especially in here, East Africa. Let's have a quick look at our annual sales revenue. In the past 5 years, Headway has maintained a steady growth. In last year, our annual sales revenue surpassed $486 million. Behind this growth is our high quality and global engagement. You will find us at DDW, APDW, UEG, and the Medica and other regional GI conference or medical exhibitions. So next, please allow our colleague, Andrew, to make a detailed introduction of our cutting-edge technology. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Edwin Samakula. I am a biomedical engineer by profession, and I work for a company called Rima East Africa Limited. Rima East Africa Limited is a biomedical engineering company that specializes in distribution of medical equipment across East Africa, with branches in Uganda, Tanzania, setting up one in Sudan as well. On this occasion, we partnered with Headway because of their new cutting and innovative technology, as we are going to see. Throughout the presentation, the previous speakers, the likes of Dr. Ahmed, the president in his absentia, and so many who have spoken before me have highlighted the need for solutions, innovative solutions to combat the early diagnosis of H-Pyroli, because we can all testify that H-Pyroli is, they call it it's classified under class 1 carcinogen, right? It causes cancer, so it's classified under class 1. Now, this innovative technology that I'm going to present to you is one of the solutions that we believe, once implemented properly, can revolutionize or try to bring a solution to a solution that we've been looking for, because we've been talking about innovative technologies, how we can standardize H-Pyroli screening, for example, and the likes. So the machine before us today, it's called an H-Pyroli machine, HUBT20P. For those who can't see, this is the machine here. Yes, this technology, we are basically testing H-Pyroli in patients, but it is completely non-invasive. So there's no piercing anybody, there's no need for endoscopy at this level, okay? And it has been branded as the gold standard in terms of detecting H-Pyroli. How? With this machine, it comes with what we call a urea capsule that a patient takes, okay? So for example, it's required that somebody takes a patient probably 3 hours prior. The best time to do this test is probably in the morning when someone has not yet had breakfast. However, if somebody has not had still breakfast like 3 hours or 4 hours prior, they are very good candidates. So somebody comes, they are given this capsule. This is a urea capsule. It's not a drug. Everything gets out of your body within 12 to 24 hours. So in this capsule here, this is what we call urea, okay? Now, as we all know, my dear professionals, that H-Pyroli produces what we call ureas, yeah, in our gut. So the ureas that it produces is the one that is responsible for breaking down this urea capsule into 2 compounds. That's the bicarbonate compound and the ammonium compound. Now, we are interested in the bicarbonate compound, which is labeled, it's a carbon compound with isotope 14, okay? It's a carbon labeled 14. So once the urea produced by the H-Pyroli breaks down this capsule into the 2 compounds, the bicarbonate and the ammonium compound, the bicarbonate is going to be absorbed into the bloodstream. And eventually, it's going to go to the liver for us to exhale out as we exhale out the carbon dioxide. Now, from the time the person takes this capsule, they just sit somewhere for 15 minutes. In the 15 minutes, what I've described earlier is taking place. The urea is being broken down by the ureas produced by the H-Pyroli in our gut. So we believe within the 15 minutes, we'll have, most of it will have already been broken down, and therefore it's being exhaled through our normal breathing in and breathing out. So after the 15 minutes, the physician handles over, this is what we call a collection card, to the patient who has taken the capsule, okay? So they hand over this very sensitive collection card. This collection card is usually here. It's usually yellow. So they give you this collection card, then the patient blows into this collection card for about 3 minutes until it turns orange. Why do they blow into the card? Is because we are trying to capture the carbon 14. That is, remember we are breathing it out concurrently with, in carbon dioxide with the normal isotope of carbon 12. So this is capturing the carbon 14, ideally. So once it turns orange, then it's as good as just you get this card and place it into this machine, and the machine will do the rest. The machine will detect, it will measure what has been captured, and this takes about 4 minutes and 10 seconds to be precise, and it will give us a value. Now the value it gives, it's both qualitative and quantitative. In other words, it's going to give us a negative value and a positive value. However, when it gives you a positive value, it's going to attach a number to it. For example, between 0, the carbon value that it gives is between 0 to any number. However, less than 40, that person is negative. All right? Then above 50, that person is positive. Now, the higher the number, for example, 100, if it gives a count of 100 or a count of 200 or a count of 300, that shows you the severity the physician is able to tell the damage that, or the amount of H-Pyroli and the damage it is causing to this person. Because a person, if it gives me a count of, let's say, 70, and it gives another person a count of, say, 300, that means the other person is not doing well. Therefore, the physician is at will to actually go ahead and maybe ask for an endoscopy, for example. Yeah, but that's already, we've already gotten proof that the person has H-Pyroli in their gut. So the whole process takes roughly 20 to 25 minutes, and you have the result. Yeah. It's a very maintenance-free machine. It doesn't require any reagents. The only calibration that we do on the machine, we have a standard card that we always run every 2 weeks or a month for it to calibrate itself. There are no reagents. There are no. The only consumable we have is this, ideally, and the collection card. So within 20 minutes, we have our results. It's non-invasive. It's recommended out there in Western countries. Nowadays, it's become mandatory that people above, even children above 12 years, they go and test. Yeah. Now here in Tanzania or in the sub-Saharan region, for example, we know that we have a prevalence of about 75% of us or of the population is in one way or another infected with the H-Pyroli. So if we could standardize this, like somebody mentioned earlier, whereby if somebody goes for a medical checkup, they also do this test as well, because it's only 20 minutes and it's completely non-invasive. So somebody can walk in and get out. The only people who are exempted at the moment from doing this test are the breastfeeding mothers and expectant women. Not that there are studies that show that the carbon in here affects them, but because of their very sensitive nature during that time, it's not advisable. I'd not talked about the ammonium compound. The ammonium compound is also excreted out of our system completely, 100%, within about 12 to 24 hours through sweating, through urinating, and other ways we excrete. So everything completely gets out of the patient's body within about 12 hours. Now, I'm going to invite my friend, my colleague, Bruno, and to give you an in-depth analysis. But in a nutshell, just to recap, somebody takes this, they sit somewhere for about 15 minutes. After the 15 minutes, they are handed a collection card, which they blow into until this turns from yellow to orange, this color code here. And then after that, the physician just puts it into this machine, and the machine does the rest. All the chemistry and everything is into the machine. And then automatically, it has a printer here. It will print the results, which the physician then can interpret and go ahead to give a diagnosis or a way forward, depending on what they've seen. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill Bruno Senkole, and I'm a pharmacist. I'm overjoyed to be here with you. Thank you so much for hosting us in Tanzania. It's my first time here, and it's so far so good. So basically, I'm here to talk about the significance of the urea breath test in a nutshell. Why is it called the urea breath test? Why isn't it called the nitrate test or carbon test? Why is it called the urea breath test? And I would also like to stress it out that there are two urea breath tests. That is the C14 and then the C13 urea breath test. What we have here is the C14 urea breath test, and it's what we came to give to Tanzania. So the reason why it's called the urea breath test, it's because of the principle with which this test operates. And above here is the principle. He highlighted he highlighted it in his presentation, but I also like to stress out a few things in there. So we are having this capsule. He talked about the components of the test, and the number one component is this capsule. And now this capsule is not a drug. It is NDA in Uganda classifies it as a food. The reason why NDA classifies it as a food is because it has no pharmacodynamic properties, but definitely it does have pharmacokinetic properties. Because it's excreted, it's metabolized, all those are pharmacokinetic properties. So this capsule right here contains urea. Now the urea that is contained in this capsule, like he said or mentioned, has its carbon labeled 14. That is to differentiate it from the carbon dioxide that we have in the atmosphere, because it is carbon 12. Now this urea is hydrolyzed, like you can see here. This urea, after being ingested by the patient, it is hydrolyzed in the stomach or in the gut by the urease, which is produced by the H-Pyroli. How does the urease come about? We understand that the H-Pyroli exists in an acidic environment, but then how does it survive? It survives by producing urease, which urease goes ahead to neutralize its environment. In that way, it's able to survive in an acidic environment. So when this patient ingests this capsule right here, it is going to, the components of the capsule or the constituents, which is the urea, is going to be hydrolyzed by the urease produced by this H. pylori. When this urease is hydrolyzed, you're going to have two products of hydrolysis, that is the bicarbonate and then the ammonia. Now the bicarbonate, definitely with the ammonium, is going to be absorbed in the gut, in the small intestines, into the bloodstream. So the ammonia, you let me concentrate on the bicarbonate, please. The bicarbonate will be transported to the gaseous exchange center. When it's transported to the gas exchange center, it's going to dissociate into water and carbon dioxide. Now, the carbon in this carbon dioxide, this is the reason why the test or the patient is asked to take this capsule and sit for 15 minutes. There are lots of factors surrounding these 15 minutes that directly contribute to the specificity and sensitivity of the test directly. And if it's messed around with, you may end up having false positives or false negatives, whereas the testing itself hardly gives such results. So the patient is rather at the gaseous exchange center. We are going to have the patient exhale out this carbon dioxide into the breath card. He mentioned the breath card right over here. This is the breath card or the collection card. This is used to collect the sample. The sample therefore here is the carbon dioxide. This is what we are most interested in. The carbon dioxide has the carbon labeled 14. Now this card right over here is sensitive to the carbon 14 isotope. It is very sensitive to the carbon-14 isotope. So it will capture it, and it has a center. As you can see, there is a center which is colored. This center right over here is an indicator. It indicates saturation. It does not indicate results of the test. It indicates saturation, that this card is saturated with the sample. And how does it show you that it is saturated with the sample? The color here will change from yellow to orange. Now, for some of you here, maybe you could have, this is majorly for the laboratory technicians, they could have maybe color challenges, differentiating between one or two colors. I made a test just outside there. I was inquiring for somebody. I asked them, which color is this? Dr. Sai, if I may find out from you, could you differentiate these colors, please? There are two colors right over there in that capsule. So doctor had to inquire from someone with better vision. Thank God for better vision. All right. Yes, so we're having yellow and then we are having orange. Now, the reason why the manufacturers of these tests, which is Headway, represented by our colleagues here, Mr. Lee and Jesse, they made it in such a way to help you, to help the laboratory technician to differentiate these colors, because it's very important. If the laboratory technician cannot clearly distinguish between these two colors, they might end up retrieving the card from the patient, whereas it is not saturated with the test. And all of us here can definitely tell what the result of the test will be. It could be a false negative, therefore. See that? So these two colors, there will be that color change to indicate the saturation. So after that, he talked to you about the whole procedure and all that. But I want to specifically highlight the significance of this test, the urea breath test. The previous panelists talked about innovative methods of diagnosis, especially for such prevalent infections like H-Pyroli, and they talked about the urea breath tests as some of the new methods that should be adopted. Well, it is true, they should be adopted. The World Health Organization recommends so. The World Gastroenterology Organization recommends so. This is a test that has been used in screening, prophylaxis of the same infection. Now, Dr. Anthony, and I paraphrase, made a statement here and said that in diagnosis, we have precision methods like endoscopy, which play a very important role. But at times, this endoscopy is going to be performed on the patient at the very time when the patient has, they are presenting with every symptom of the disease, and then it is passed. So literally, you could not arrest the patient from, you could not help the patient from progressing into the disease. Because we are having this H. pylori, and then the patient is infected, but it does not necessarily mean that they should develop the disease. So can you help them? How can you help them if the methods that you're using to diagnose are not such precise? This is the reason for the development of the urea breath test. Because the urea breath test has been labeled a gold standard test. By that, it means it is very much, its precision is quite high. I mean, it's high, not even just quite high, it's high. So it solves the challenge of doing an endoscopy when the patient has already developed, the disease. So we could help them. We could help them. How do we help the patient using the urea breath test? It is very simple. So from this principle here that I've just highlighted to you here, we can conclude on a few things. Number one, we can conclude that the test is going to give you the result basing on an active infection happening in the gut of the patient. How so? The H. pylori, I just informed you, that is going to produce the enzyme urease. If the H. pylori is eradicated and non-resident in the gut of the patient, there is not going to be sufficient concentration for the urease to hydrolyze the urea. If the H. pylori was eradicated due to the therapy, perhaps the patient performed the test prior and then they were found positive, for example, the RUT or the stool antigen test or the blood serum, and then the patient was found positive, and then they went, the clinician went ahead to manage the patient, and then the outcomes of the treatment was so that the H. pylori was eradicated. This test, therefore, is going to show you that the patient, rather the H. pylori in the gut of this patient was eradicated. Therefore, you might have to perhaps take them off the regimen or proceed to any other treatment decision and management decision accordingly. So how does it help out with ensuring that endoscopy, number one, remains the confirmatory test and the standard test for the diagnosis of the same infection? This is how it does it. The H. pylori, the urea breath test, I will use C14 in this instance. It has two results. The result number one is the qualitative result, which is the patient is going to be positive for the infection, or the patient is going to be negative for the infection. He hinted on it. He said that then the other, allow me to skip this for a moment, the other result is the quantitative result. Now, the quantitative result is very vital. This is what is going to help you. Okay, this is what is going to help you so that you can help the patient as a clinician or a doctor. The quantitative result in such a way that you are having a range of figures. So you are having, the test will give you a range of figures from 0 to 40, and then from 50 going above. So from 0 to 40, the device will tell you that this patient is negative. Then from 50 and above, the device will tell you that this patient is positive. But you can see these are figures, these are numbers. They are indicative of the activity of the H. pylori in the gut of this patient. So when you find out that this patient is positive, all right, at what concentration of the H. pylori in the gut, you can go ahead and make a decision to put the patient on treatment or go ahead and do an endoscopy to find out what you're actually seeing using the urea breath test. So what are we concluding or deducting at? We are deducting at the very point that the urea breath test is a gold standard test for precision diagnosis leading to precision medicine. So thank you so very much. Allow me to stop here for now. Yes. He could highlight just a few things regarding the sensitivity and the specificity of the test. All right. He has asked me to. Thank you. So we can talk about the sensitivity and the specificity of the test in comparison with all the tests present. Okay. So we are having the invasive ones, of course, which include the RUT, the culture, histology. You require, for example, the RUT. Many of you here are doctors, clinicians. Perhaps you've performed it. These are invasive tests. The sensitivity of the RUT ranges from 75 to 98. The specificity ranges from 70 to 98. As you can read from here, the culture, the specificity definitely is 100%, and then the sensitivity 70 to 92. Now, let's proceed to the non-invasive tests. We are having the stool antigen, whose sensitivity is 89 to 96. Then the specificity 87 to 94. So in comparison with all these tests that we are using today, with the urea breath test, and in the urea breath test we're talking about both the C14 and the C13, we can see that the sensitivity is way above, up to 99%, and then in fact for both 99%. The World Gastroenterological Organization has confirmed so, that the sensitivity and the specificity of this test is up to this figure. Headway, the manufacturers of these tests, are not just making up the results. We have clinical studies. If you could pass by our booth, we can show you these studies that back up this information, clearly with you. Of course, including other documentations and certifications. Yeah, so from this information, we can definitely conclude that the urea breath test can be used for screening, number one. And then it can also be used for monitoring the progress of the infection. And you can also use it to make correct, timely treatment decisions for your patient. Yes. Is there any other thing? Yes. All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you again for having us here.
I'm told we still have some time. So in the concluding remarks, I wanted to highlight just one thing. These are some of the areas where this machine is used in the clinical lab, endoscopy, pediatric department. Yes. Now, who should be treated for H-Pyroli? Of course, we have them up there: peptic ulcer patients, gastric maltumor patients, chronic gastricitis accompanied with dyspepsia, as a doctor here talked about, then patients with family history of gastric cancer, long-term users of PPI. Now, here's what I wanted to note. We are all, I know, you have more medical knowledge than I, but when it comes to if somebody has been using PPIs for quite some time and antibiotics, then it's recommended that at least we do that test maybe 2 weeks after, because of course these PPIs, in a way they will affect the results. So we might get false negatives or false positives because of the way they react with the acidic nature in the gut or in the stomach. So it's recommended that if somebody has been undergoing medication involving antibiotics and maybe PPIs, they come for the test maybe 2 weeks after they are done their medication. That I wanted to highlight. Otherwise, thank you very much. The device is already registered with TMDA, and we are looking forward to partnering with the various hospitals across the country for this very great innovation from our colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, carrying us through this CME on urea breath test. So I would like to invite 2 or 3 questions or comments from the audience. Yes, please. Yeah, come and do it.
Okay, thank you very much, Headway, and thank you, Edwin and Bruno. So my question is on the capsule 14 and 13. Is there any difference in the results? And then for Headway, do you make only carbon 14 or you also have 13?
Thank you, Dr. Anthony. Actually, we have a lot of installation in Uganda, like CCare Hospital. We were in Kampala from Monday to Tuesday. And thanks for the nice question. Actually, we have both C13 and C14 urea breath test. And the difference between C14 and C13 urea breath test is C14 is the radioactive isotope. But this radioactive isotope is used for urea breath test. It's very sensitive and it's very safe. We have the exemptions from the United States FDA and also China FDA. So one UBT, one C14 UBT test, the dose is just 0.75 microcurie. So the radiation of one UBT test equals to taking 1 hour's flight or 24 hours background radiation. So it's very widely used in many countries. The reason why we introduced this C14 first into East African countries because it has been widely used and widely used in China and many countries, and it's more affordable, more friendly because the device is very friendly to the environment. So that's why we introduced the C14 urea breath test here. Yes, thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you, Rima Limited, for the nice presentation. Yes, as you presented the urea breath test as the gold standard.
Yes.
With a very good sensitivity and specificity of around 99%. So making it a very good test for H-Pyroli, a non-invasive test. So what about the test, the cost of one test, taking into consideration the society we are taking care of? So we need to know the cost implication of a single test.
Thank you very much for the question. Just like I mentioned now, we are bringing a more affordable test here in East Africa. But since this is a very advanced technology, so compared with the stool test, our price is a little bit higher than stool test. But it's more friendly to the lab staff, to the doctors, and to the patients. I think maybe at the very beginning, the price may be a little bit higher. A reasonable UBT for the patients is around $25 to $30 in many countries, is on average. But in East Africa, we'll try our best to make it lower, to let more people can experience this good technology. Thank you. For the patients, right? $25. Yes. Thank you.
Now, maybe just to add on that, that $25 is relative. we have different pricing schedules. For example, there's a difference when you buy the machine and when we do place the machine. And we also have a very good flexible rate. So we come to us and we discuss and we see how, because we want to make this as affordable as possible for the everyday person as well, because that's why we are here. So it could go to as low as maybe $15, but it depends on, for example, there are some dynamics, I would say, yes, that are very key and vital. Yes, please.
Any more?
Thank you very much for an interesting technology. We clinicians who have just been reading this from the books. In Tanzania locally, we normally order the stool test and the blood test. So this one is a bit new for most clinicians in Tanzania. So we, especially in Dar es Salaam, most of the patients are using insurance, like NHIF and other private insurance. So to make the issue of costs, did you make any consultations for the insurance companies in Tanzania so that they can incorporate these tests? Did you make that effort?
Yes, of course. Actually, our company is a state-owned company. The Chinese government owns our company. So being here in East Africa, it's not just for business. We are trying to bring more healthcare to our frontier in East Africa. So we'll try our best to talk with the insurance company. And also, we are going to have a meeting with the MSD here in Tanzania. So maybe in the very near future, this very advanced technology can be very widely used here in Tanzania with covered by the insurance. Yes.
Maybe just to add on that, in Uganda and South Sudan, we're already having so many private hospitals, for example, that are using the insurance premiums for their patients. So we do believe that even here, it will not be any different. We'll try to talk to, or we're already in talks actually with the director of, he was supposed to be here today, the director, like medical stores. Yes, he went to Dodoma, but yes, NMSD. We're already in talks with that gentleman, and I think it's going to be positive, and we'll see how to carry forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, for the questions and the responses. Maybe because I'm more closer to the policy makers, I think for your last question and for the question of pricing, I think the Tanzania Gastroenterology Society has a big role to play in that. Because in the next revision of the standard treatment guidelines, if you find this test is important and include it in the STG, then NHIF can cover it. So even if you go and talk to them, if it's not in the STGs, it will not. So it's up for the Tanzania Gastroenterology Society to work with the Headway and Rima to kind of do some local research test evaluation, proof of concept tests, and then prove to the ministry that we need this. Because they've shown that among the non-invasive, it is the best. In the invasive one, there were two which were, the culture is 100% sensitivity, and the other one was histology, was closer to was on the similar range with this. But for the non-invasive, it's non-touch. So it's up to you people in the Gastroenterology Society of Tanzania and Uganda and whatever. But for Tanzania, if it's not in the STG, NHIF will not cover, maybe the private insurance. But because the standard guideline is going to be revised soon, so the Tanzania Gastroenterology Society must make its presence felt. So, and make sure that it's included. Then and maybe you can help them do some of the proof of concept research. It has been proven already, but show the value add in Tanzania. If you introduce it, how many patients you will save, how many early diagnosis will save, how much. They talked about the economy in the morning. So if you identify early, how much money will you save? So the initial cost, even if $25 is high, nobody will afford, for the test. But if you look at the whole chain, it might be useful. Sawa, kwa hiyo kazi kwenu, si ndio? Wataalamu wa Gastroenterology Society na jamii bora. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.